At the end of each decade, your words can pierce the veil between heaven and earth. Pope Leo XIV discovered this truth in the silence of prayer, and now he reveals what the Mother of God herself waits to hear. Before we begin, if this message speaks to your spirit, subscribe and walk with us under God's word and with the spiritual guidance of Pope Leo XIV. In the comments, write Mary, my mother, and the city from where you're hearing this sacred teaching. Pope Leo XIV teaches that after completing 10 Hail Marys, most souls rush forward. They miss the moment when heaven leans closer, the moment when Mary's heart opens widest. The Holy Father discovered this during his years in Peru, kneeling on cold chapel floors at dawn. He noticed something. The saints didn't just recite, they lingered. They spoke words after each decade that made angels pause. Here's what Pope Leo XIV instructs every Catholic to say at the end of the first decade. Mother Mary, I offer these 10 roses for the conversion of my heart. Take my stubbornness. Give me your surrender. Simple words, powerful transformation. The Pope explains why this works. Each decade is a spiritual garden. 10 prayers bloom like roses. But roses need to be offered. They need to be placed in Mary's hands with intention. Without this offering, they remain beautiful but disconnected from their purpose. At the end of the second decade, Pope Leo XIV teaches these words. Dearest Mother, these 10 prayers I place at the foot of the cross. For every soul who suffers alone today, let them feel your presence. Notice the directness, no elaborate theology. The Pope learned this from the poor of Chicago and Peru. They taught him that Mary doesn't need our impressive words. She needs our honest hearts. The third decade requires different words. Pope Leo XIV instructs, Mary, my mother, I give you these prayers for my family, for the ones who have walked away, for the ones who no longer believe. Bring them home. The Pope shares a truth here. Mary's greatest sorrow isn't Calvary alone. It's watching her children drift from her Son. When we pray for the lost members of our families, we touch the deepest part of her immaculate heart. For the fourth decade, these are the words that move heaven. Mother of mercy, take these 10 prayers for the dying. For those who will meet God today, stand beside them, whisper courage into their fear. Pope Leo XIV reveals something profound. Every day, approximately 150,000 souls leave this earth. Most die without anyone praying for them. When we offer a decade for the dying, Mary herself becomes their companion in that final journey. The fifth decade holds special power. The Pope teaches these words. Mary, Queen of Peace, I offer these prayers for the end of war. For every child who sleeps in fear tonight, for every mother who has lost her son, bring peace. Why does this fifth offering matter so deeply? Pope Leo XIV explains that Mary appeared at Fatima, at Lourdes, at Guadalupe, always with the same plea. Pray for peace. When we offer a decade for peace, we join our voices to hers. But the Pope's teaching goes deeper. After each offering, he instructs a moment of complete silence. 3 breaths, no words, just listening. Because Mary responds, not always in words, sometimes in a sudden peace, sometimes in an unexpected tear, sometimes in a memory of someone who needs prayer. Pope Leo XIV discovered variations for different situations. When praying for healing after the decade, Mother Mary, you who stood at the foot of suffering, take these prayers for all who are sick, for those the doctors have given up on. You who believed in resurrection when all seemed lost, believe for them. When praying for priests, the words change. Mother of the eternal priest, these 10 prayers are for your sons who wear the collar, for the ones who are tired, for the ones who doubt, for the ones who are falling. Catch them. The Pope noticed something remarkable. In Peru, an old woman taught him a secret. She would touch her rosary beads to her heart after speaking these offerings. The words go from my lips, she said, but they must pass through my heart first. Mary knows the difference. For protection of children, Pope Leo XIV gives these words. Mary, perfect mother, guard the innocent. These prayers are armor for every child in danger today. Stand between them and evil. Be fiercer than a lioness for your cubs. The Holy Father emphasizes timing. Don't rush these offerings. Let each word have weight. In our modern world, we speak too fast, pray too fast, live too fast. Mary exists in eternity. She has time. Give her yours. For those battling addiction after the decade, Mother most patient, these prayers are for everyone enslaved today, to alcohol, to drugs, to sin that seems stronger than will. You who crush the serpent's head, crush these chains. Pope Leo XIV shares a personal story. A young man in Chicago, deep in addiction, began saying these exact words after each decade. 6 months later, free. Not by willpower, by Mary's intercession. The Pope met him. The transformation was complete. For marriages in crisis, Mary, who kept the Holy Family together, takes these 10 prayers for every marriage hanging by a thread today. Where love has grown cold, rekindle it. Where trust is broken, rebuild it. Where hope has died, resurrect it. The Pope discovered that couples who pray together, even when they can barely speak to each other, find healing. Mary specializes in impossible situations. She turned water into wine at Cana when the celebration seemed over. For financial desperation. Mother of divine providence, these prayers are for everyone who doesn't know how they'll eat tomorrow, who can't pay rent, who sees no way forward. You who know poverty, provide. Pope Leo XIV learned this in Peru's slums. The poorest people taught him the richest prayers. They had nothing but faith, and Mary never left them without what they needed, not luxuries. But necessities always appeared. For those who have left the church, sorrowful mother, these 10 prayers are for your children who no longer come home. Who has been hurt by your church? Who say they don't believe? Love them back. Love them through their anger. Love them home. The Pope's voice breaks when he teaches this one. He has seen too many leaves, but he has also seen Mary's love pursue them, sometimes for years. She never gives up on her children. Never. For souls in purgatory, Mary, Gate of Heaven, deliver these prayers to the holy souls, to the forgotten ones, the ones with no one left to pray for them. Let each Hail Mary be a drop of water on their purifying flames. Pope Leo XIV reveals a mystery. The souls in purgatory can see our prayers arriving like light in their darkness. When we remember them, their suffering lessens. Mary personally delivers our decades to them. For priests and religious in crisis of vocation, Mother of perseverance, hold your consecrated ones. These prayers are for every priest who woke up today, wondering why he continues. For every sister who feels forgotten, remind them, strengthen them, show them their value. The Holy Father knows this pain personally. He watched his friends leave religious life. But those who added these words after each decade found new strength. Mary protects vocations like a gardener protects rare flowers. For conversion of hardened sinners, Mary, refuge of sinners, these 10 prayers are battering rams against hard hearts. For the criminals, the abusers, the ones everyone has written off. You see the child they were, call that child, save them. Pope Leo XIV teaches something radical here. No one is beyond Mary's reach. The worst sinner still has a mother who weeps for them. Our decades can be her tears, washing away years of sin. For healing of memories, Mother most gentle, take these prayers to every wounded memory, to childhood, trauma that still bleeds, to betrayals that won't heal, to losses that feel fresh after decades. Touch these wounds with your healing hands. The Pope learned this from abuse survivors. Traditional therapy helped, but adding these words after each decade brought healing that psychology alone couldn't reach. Mary goes places therapists cannot. For protection from evil, Mary, terror of demons, these 10 prayers form a fortress around every home under spiritual attack, around every person oppressed by darkness. Your name makes hell tremble. Speak it over your children. Pope Leo XIV doesn't shy from spiritual warfare. He has seen possession, he has seen oppression, but he has never seen evil stand against a rosary prayed with these offerings. Mary's protection is absolute. For the grace of final perseverance, Mother of good counsel, these prayers are for my last hour. When that moment comes, be there. Let these decades prayed today be money in the bank of eternity. Promise to come for me. The Pope teaches that every rosary prayed with these offerings is a reservation for our deathbed. Mary keeps careful accounts. She will be there because we asked her today for increase of faith. Mary, who believed the impossible, share your faith. These 10 prayers are for everyone who wants to believe but can't, who sees only darkness, who has prayed and heard silence. Let them borrow your faith until they find their own. Pope Leo XIV noticed that doubt isn't the opposite of faith. It's often faith in labor. These words after each decade help faith be born in struggling hearts. For wisdom in decisions. Mary, seat of wisdom. These prayers are for everyone facing impossible choices today, for parents, for leaders, for young people. Choosing their path, you who pondered everything in your heart, help them see clearly. The Pope discovered that major decisions made after praying these words carry a special grace. Mary guides her children through life's crossroads. For healing of nations. Mary, Queen of all nations, these 10 prayers are for our broken world, for leaders consumed by power, for countries torn by hatred, for earth itself, groaning under human sin. You who appear to all cultures, unite us. Pope Leo XIV believes national healing begins with individual rosaries. Each decade offered for our nation is a stone in the bridge toward peace. For the lonely, Mother who understands loneliness, these prayers are companions for the isolated, for the elderly forgotten in nursing homes, for the prisoners in solitary. For anyone who feels unseen today, be their presence. The Pope learned this from COVID isolation. When the world stayed apart, these offerings connected souls across distance. Mary carried the prayers like letters between the lonely. For those who cannot pray, Mary, our advocate. These 10 prayers are for the speechless, for those in comas, for those whose depression steals their words, for those whose pain is beyond expression. Pray in their place, be their voice. Pope Leo XIV teaches that sometimes we must pray for those who cannot. Our decades become their lifeline to heaven. The Pope's most powerful teaching comes last. After the final decade of any rosary, he instructs these words: Mary, my mother, I place this entire rosary in your immaculate heart. Every word, every bead, every breath between the prayers. Do with them what you will. Multiply them, direct them. Use them where the need is greatest. I trust you completely. Then Pope Leo XIV says, kiss your rosary, not as a superstition, as love, as you would kiss your mother's hand. Because you have just spent time with the Mother of God. She has heard every word. She has received every offering. The Holy Father reveals one final secret. Keep a journal. Write down what happens after you begin praying this way. The answered prayers will astonish you. The conversions, the healings, the provisions, the protections. Mary keeps her promises. But more than the miracles, you will notice something else. Your heart will change. Slowly, quietly, you will become more like her. Patient, gentle, strong, faithful. This is her greatest gift to her children who offer their decades with love. Pope Leo XIV closes with this truth: heaven is not distant. It's as close as your next. Hail Mary! Mary is not a statue. She's a mother, alive, listening, acting. Every decade offered with these simple words builds a bridge between earth and eternity. The Pope has spoken. The teaching is complete. Now it waits for hearts brave enough to believe, simple enough to trust, persistent enough to continue. Mary's heart is ready to be touched. The question is yours ready to reach out? Begin today. 1 decade, 1 offering. One mother's heart meeting her child's prayer. This is how heaven comes to earth. This is how the world changes. Not through noise and force, through quiet words spoken after 10 Hail Marys, rising like incense to the throne of the Queen who Pope Leo XIV promises. No one who practices this teaching will remain unchanged. No prayer offered this way will go unanswered. Mary has been waiting for these words. Now she waits for you to speak to them. The rosary in your hand is not jewelry. It's a weapon, it's medicine, it's a telephone to heaven, but only if you know what to say when the decade ends. Now you know. Pope Leo XIV has given you the words. Mary has prepared her heart. All heaven holds its breath, waiting for you to begin.